Good morning. My name is Marley Avant, and I will be your service leader today. And just thank you all for coming out in this blustery weather to help bring in the light. I would like to take just a second. I'm sure you all have known and seen on the news of what's happened in Australia. And I feel it's just even more important that we have gatherings like this and that we hold the hope and the faith. This morning, we will honor Hanukkah, the Festival of Lights. As our Jewish friends and neighbors remember the oil that burned without reason, we too can remember the miracles, large and small, that sustained us and renewed us in times of darkness. May the story of Hanukkah inspire us to kindle our own spirits of justice, of renewal, and of beloved community. As we kindle this chalice this morning, we remember that its flame has long been a symbol of refuge, of courage, and of hope. May this light, join the lights of the menorahs, and together kindle in us a deeper compassion, resilience, and joy that cannot be extinguished. And now we'll have opening words by Jeff Rosenfeld.
Good morning. Good morning. Today is the Miracle of Lights, and we need it. With what happened in Australia, what's happening around the world. Tonight is the first night of Hanukkah, and so today we will bring light, hopefully, to the world. I have an announcement. Hanukkah is not the Jewish Christmas, as many folks want to believe. However, Hanukkah may very well have been a Christian holiday. And I say that because during my preparation for today, I have found so many factors that indicate a correlation with Hanukkah and Christianity. And as I go through my opening words, hopefully they will resonate. Before we do that, we have to first look at the history leading up to Hanukkah. In the year 3033, before the Common Era, Alexander the Great, you all may know who he was. He invaded Syria, which was then Persia. He invaded Palestine. He invaded the Gaza. He invaded Israel. Today, the Gaza, the West Bank. And his agenda was he wanted to create the Greek culture throughout all the lands that he conquered. Government, language, religion. He set up idols for the Greek gods. But one nice thing about Alexander the Great, he left the Jewish people alone. He allowed them to practice their religion. He allowed them to go into the temple built by Solomon. But then things went bad. In 168, before the Common Era, the Syria ruler, and I'm going to try my best, Atheist Epiphanes, E-P-I-T-H-A-N, became the ruler of all the land conquered by Alexander the Great. And he decreed there's only going to be one God, the Greek gods. There's going to only be one culture, the Greek culture. And he forbid the Jewish people from practicing a religion. He wanted only one religion throughout the entire area. He banned the Jewish people from going into the temple that Solomon built. He set up idols throughout the country, and he forced as many Jewish folks as he could to worship the Greek gods. This is 168 BC. 3 years later, 165 before the Common Era, a guy named Judith Maccabee assembled followers, a small band, and they revolted. And they were successful in driving the Syrians out. And when they went into the temple, they found it desecrated. They found Greek idols. They found the blood of pigs that were sacrificed. And this was the first time the Jews were allowed into the temple. What's so significant about trying to build a relationship with Christianity, this took place on the 25th day. Let me get the right name, of Kislev, which is the Jewish name for December. So when I read this and learned this, what jumped out at me was, wait a minute, the 25th day of December is when the Jews dedicated the temple. And the word Hanukkah means dedicated. And when I think of the Christian calendar not being formalized until the 6th century, and December 25th being the date Christ was born, and the temple was dedicated on the 25th day of December, I said, this can't be. It got me thinking. Well, now we get to the miracle of Hanukkah. Because when the Jewish folks went into the temple, there was only enough oil to burn one day. And the oil is significant because it lights the Spirit of God. It's called the internal light. And as we all know, that candle lasted 8 days. They sent out messengers to come back and keep the candle going for 8 days. But many folks really don't understand what's so significant about the light of God. And maybe I can help you. For over 5,000 years until today, you can go into any Jewish house of worship, anywhere in the world, day or night, and there is a light burning. And this is symbolic of the light of God shines over the whole world, day or night, wherever you may be. This was the miracle that the oil they found that would burn one day lasted 8 days, which is why we have 8 placeholders on the menorah, which I'll address shortly. My next clue is that nowhere in the Jewish Torah, the 5 books of Moses, or in all the books of the Hebrew Bible, is Hanukkah mentioned. And the reason for this is Hanukkah did not take place until after the Jewish Torah was written. So here we have the Old Testament void of the word Hanukkah or the events of the rededication of the temple. Second factor. However, Hanukkah is mentioned in the New Testament. Maccabees 1 and 2 discuss the Festival of the Lights. And then continuing preparation, I read how Jesus went to Jerusalem, to the temple, to celebrate Hanukkah. And when I said this to a few folks, they looked at me saying, what, Jesus went to the temple to celebrate Hanukkah? John 10:22 and 10:23. At that time, the Feast of Dedication took place in Jerusalem. It was winter, and Jesus was walking into the temple in the colonnade of Solomon. And then what was so fascinating to me, in the very next sentence, the eternal question was asked of Jesus. This is John 24. So the Jews gathered around him and said to him, how long will you keep us in surprise? If you are the Christ, tell us plainly. Okay. I got to throw in the menorah in this mix now. The menorah is a Hebrew word for candelabrum. Prior to Hanukkah, the menorah had 7 branches, one for each day that took God to create the earth. But then in the first century, the menorah was changed to 9 branches, 4 on each side to represent the 8 days that the candle lit. And the middle one is called the shamus. A shamus is a Hebrew word for servant. I grew up in a temple and we always had a shamus. And the shamus was the caretaker who took care of the temple. Here at UU, we have a lot of shamuses who take care of our synagogue here, starting all the way from Janet to our lay minister to all the wonderful folks. So you all are shamuses, you're all court caretakers. Now there was a last clue that I found that tied into Hanukkah possibly being a Christmas holiday. Archaeologists have found menorahs in ancient Christian and Muslim communities. So where am I going with all this? I have no idea. To me, it's meshugana. Meshugana is a Yiddish word for crazy, to try to figure out and understand the relationship with Judaism, Christianity, who did what first. So let's have Charlene lead us off in this wonderful celebration with the children talking about the Hanukkah beer.
So this is a story for all ages. I've only had a chance to look through it once, so I hope I get it right. Old Bear awoke from his winter sleep. He poked his nose outside his den. What was that? Something to eat. Old Bear's empty stomach rumbled. He shook himself all over, then lumbered out of his den to follow the delicious smell. Bubba Brainer took the last potato latke from the pot and put it in the oven with the others. Bubba Brawny was 97 years old, and she did not hear or see as well as she used to, but she still made the best potato latkes in the village. Every year at Hanukkah time, all of her friends came to her house at the edge of the forest. How they loved those latkes. Baba Brainer always made plenty, but tonight she made twice as many as usual. Tonight was special. Tonight the rabbi was coming. Bubba Briner hurried to get ready. Just then, she heard a thump on the door. She opened it. "Rabbi, you're here early. How nice to see you." "Grumph," growled the old bear. "Happy Hanukkah to you too. Please come in." Old Bear walked into the house. "I'll take your coat, Rabbi. My, how thick it is! Bubba Briner tugged at Old Bear's fur. Old Bear roared, "Grrr! Oh, you want to keep your coat on? Well, that's all right. It's chilly in here." Old Bear's nose twitched. "Ruff. Thank you, Rabbi. How kind of you to say that. The latkes will taste even better than they smell." Old Bear followed his nose to the oven. "Roar! Rabbi, I'm surprised at you. You know we don't eat until we light the menorah." "Grrr. That's all right. I know you were teasing. I'll light the candles. Will you say the blessings?" "Rumph." Bubba Briner struck a match and lit the shamus candle. Then she lit the one for the first night. Old Bear muttered and growled, "Rumph, rrr, rrr." "Who has kept us alive, sustained us, and enabled us to reach this season. Oh, Rabbi, you said the blessing so beautifully." Bubba Briner sat down at the table. Old Bear sat beside her. "Let's play dreidel. We'll use these nuts." Old Bear cracked one with his teeth. "Rabbi, you don't have any nuts for the game if you eat them." Growled Old Bear. "Don't worry, I have plenty of nuts if you need more." Bubba Briner spun the dreidel. It stopped on the letter Gimel. "I won!" Bubba Briner swept the nuts into her apron. "Roar!" Old Bear roared. "Don't be angry, Rabbi. It's only a game." She tossed him a nut. Old Bear begged for more. "No, Rabbi, no more nuts. It's time for dinner." Bubba Briner opened the oven door and took out a platter piled high with steaming potato latkes. Old Bear sniffed the latkes as she set them on the table. "Do you prefer sour cream or jam?" she asked. "Roar," Old Bear growled. "Jam, I thought so." Bubba Briner smeared the 5 big latkes with jam and stacked them on Old Bear's plate. Old Bear gobbled them down. And Bubba Briner laughed. "You should use a fork. You have jam all over your beard." She wet a towel and wiped Old Bear's face. "I must tell you, Rabbi, you eat like a bear." "Grrr! Oh, I'm hungry like a bear, so I eat like one. I can see that," Bubba Briner said. Old Bear ate and ate until the latkes were gone. He felt drowsy. His head flopped on Bubba Briner's lap. "Rabbi, you're sleepy." Who wouldn't be sleepy after such a meal? All the latkes are gone. It's time to go home. But before you leave, I have a Hanukkah present for you. Bubba Briner took a red scarf from her knitting basket. She wrapped it around Old Bear's neck. "I made it myself." Grrr. Old Bear licked Bubba Briner's face. Bubba Briner blushed. "Oh, Rabbi, at my age." But Old Bear shuffled to the door. He growled as he walked out into the night. "Good night to you too, Rabbi. Happy Hanukkah." And Bubba Briner was washing dishes when she heard another knock. "I wonder who that is." "Shalom, Bubba Briner." All her friends stood at the door wishing her a happy Hanukkah. "Shalom, everybody," Bubba Briner said. "How nice to see you. I'm sorry I don't have any more latkes. The rabbi came by. He ate them all." "Bubba Briner, don't you recognize me?" It was the rabbi. "The rabbi couldn't have eaten your latkes," everyone said. "He's been with us in the synagogue." Bubba Briner rubbed her forehead. "Something strange is happening. Rabbi, I think there's an imposter going around. He looks like you. He talks like you. He even has your beard." Just then the children cried, "Look at the floor, bear tracks." A bear, and I thought it was the rabbi. Bubba Briner had to sit down. Soon she began to giggle. Well, that was a very clever bear, or a very foolish Bubba Brainer. Oh well, I'll let the bear have a happy Hanukkah. Well, I let the bear have a happy Hanukkah. I had a happy Hanukkah too. And so will you, dear friends. Bring some potatoes from the cellar. Fetch my grater and bowl. Everybody has to help. You too, Rabbi. If we all work together, we'll soon have latkes for everyone. And deep in the forest, the old bear slumbered in his den. His stomach was full of potato latkes. The warm woolen scarf was wrapped snugly around his neck. Pleasant dreams, old bear, and happy Hanukkah. Yeah. And if you want a recipe for latkes, I'll leave the book up here and you can look at it afterwards.
Thank you. That's a fun story. Jeff asked me to give a reading today, and so here it is. Long ago, a gentle people faced darkness, dehumanized in worry, their sacred space defiled, their hope nearly extinguished, yet they gathered in faith and lit a simple candle, not knowing it would last the night. Against all odds, the flame endured, not by might or power, but by courage and persistence and the faith that each small light matters. Hanukkah, known as the Festival of Lights, calls each new generation to remember not just the historical miracle, but an enduring lesson. Even the smallest spark of hope or courage can shift and the balance from despair to renewal. Parents, elders, and mentors pass on more than the ritual practice. They offer living testimony that struggles and oppression can be met and overcome by acts of faith and resilience handed down through families and communities. Lighting the menorah is both a memory of the miraculous oil and a declaration of hope, however small it may be, that it must be made visible as we are doing today, shared and celebrated openly. Each night, as another flame is kindled, the darkness withdraws a little more. The growing radiance of the menorah becomes a symbol of how faith, community, and collective belief in possibility can steadily transform the world around us. Hanukkah's ritual teaches that hope is not a passive wish, but it is an active force. It grows brighter when nurtured, passed on, and openly embraced. In facing life's adversities, the menorah's glow reminds us all who gather, Jewish or not, that what seems impossible may be within reach if one begins in faith and kindles hope and acts with courage night after night and day after day. So as we remember Hanukkah, let us be kindlers of courage and carriers of hope. Let us trust in the resilience of the human spirit and in the truth that no darkness is final where candles are lit with love. It's my honor to introduce our speaker today, Jeff Rosenfeld. Jeff is a dear friend of UUFR, a kind and generous spirit. He serves on three different committees here: grounds, security, and the ministerial search. He also attends a Quaker meeting once a month and accompanies his wife, Karen, to Trinity Episcopal on special occasions. Indeed, this area has become their beloved home and community. For the past 5 years, Jeff has been a Northern Neck CASA, which is a court-appointed special advocate for abused and neglected children. And for 8 years prior to the pandemic, Jeff was a mentor, a coach, and a volunteer coordinator with the Boys and Girls Club of the Northern Neck. He graduated from Arizona University with a bachelor's degree in business administration and received a doctorate degree in jurisprudence from the University of Richmond School of Law. In addition, Jeff has had training as a conciliatory in alternative dispute resolution for the Fairfax County Circuit Court, a member with the Virginia Mentoring Partnership, a mentor, coach, and child safety advocate through Spillett Leadership University, and he has also managed to find time to be a certified facilitator for Osho, active meditation in Pune, India. Please join me in welcoming Jeff Rosenfeld.
Okay, growing up, my Christian friends, many of them really did believe Hanukkah was the Jewish Christmas. And I understand why. Hanukkah always fell during the Christmas season. They lit lights. We lit lights, the Menorah, and some of the Reformed Jewish community put together Hanukkah bushes. So, looks like Christmas. We would receive a toy every night, a small toy, and on the last night, the 8th night, we received Hanukkah gelt. Gelt is a Jewish word for money. They would receive toys. They played with their toys, as we did, and we played, of course, with a dreidel. I need to talk about the dreidel. Dreidel is a Yiddish word for spin or to turn. And a dreidel has two functions. As you notice on the dreidel, there are 4 sides, and each side has a Hebrew word. The Hebrew word heg, spirit or the breath of God. Spin, seen here. Gimel, movement, kindness. Num, humility, faithfulness. And when you put these 4 words together, the meaning is a great miracle happened here. The second function that we as kids used to enjoy is a game. Some folks may say it's gambling, but it's a game of chance where heg, you spin it. Heg is take a half. Sin is put in 1. Gimel, take 1. None, nothing. Jeff, would you turn the lights off? We begin our service by lighting the chalice. And I ask you to take a few moments to envision what feelings you may have, what that might mean to you. Maybe brightness, love, maybe community, maybe caring, maybe togetherness. I blew it out. Now envision what your feelings may be. Darkness, loneliness, maybe despair, maybe anger. Maybe anger at me for blowing the light out. This darkness is what I envisioned the Jewish people felt when their religion was taken away from them, when they could not go into their house of worship, the Temple of Solomon, where they couldn't pray. They couldn't pray to the Sabbath, to God. And I also feel now, this is the darkness the Jewish community feels in Australia. And this is the darkness that we feel in this country, not only for anti-Semitism, but for all those who are being oppressed, our folks from Somalia, the black community, the poor, the desperate. So I ask Eva, let there be light. Let's light the Hanukkah candles. Let's light the chalice. Where's a match? And let's enjoy life. Great. Thank you.
So, we're going to do. So this menorah in the middle has been in my family for generations. I don't know how many generations, so it's been here since I was born. So we like this one. I don't know why. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishane b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu hadlik ner shel Hanukkah. Blessed are you, our God, ruler of the universe, who makes us holy through your commandments and commands us to light the Hanukkah light.
I've never really had to light something on fire.
Here. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asa nisim l'avotenu, v'tomenu hayim b'azman ha'adam. Blessed are you, our God, ruler of the universe, who performed miracles for our ancestors in the days of this season. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'anu v'kamanu v'haganu lazman hazan. Blessed are you, our God, ruler of the universe, for giving us life, for sustaining us, and for enabling us to reach this season. That's very nice.
Are there any comments would you like to share how this made you feel today?
So I have a belief about love, that love is the only exponentially self-renewing resource. And light and fire seem to be similar in that. When you take one flame, you can use it to create an infinite amount of flame and light and warmth from that. And that's such a hopeful thought for me, because sometimes the world feels so dark at this point, and just one person with that flame of hope in their heart can ignite so much light and warmth and hope around them. So that was my feeling.
Hanukkah. Yes, you do.
Well, when I came here 45 years ago, I was really surprised that my name was associated with this Hanukkah thing. So I always thought that, at least in Holland, we pronounced it as Hanukkah. Yeah, so it was totally surprising to me. But after 45 years, I can take it.
Well, Jeff, thanks a lot for putting this together. You know, what the Australia incident just makes me think of is that that hatred based on religion is so destructive. Hatred based on anything has its own particular evil to it, but there are evil people in the world, that's for sure. But when you start defining people's evil by, their race or their religion, very, very destructive.
Okay. You two are going to have to fight over it.
Thank you, Jeff, and all the people that made this happen, because I never knew much about Hanukkah, and today I know more. I will remember as much as I can. The thing that intrigues me is the connection between December 25 and the date that I guess the Council of Nicaea chose for Christ's birth. I always wondered how they picked that date. And now I have a clue. Thank you so much.
Thank you again, Jeff. And I was so struck by how you did the ritual, how you brought us into darkness and brought us back out. And to me, that's the natural ebb and flow of life. And I think Hanukkah and these stories help us realize that life isn't always bright, but ultimately in that darkness, we appreciate the brightness that much more. And so it was delicious as we went into the darkness and then we came out and the candles were lit one by one with great intentionality and a beautiful voice and wonderful children. So it just a wonderful choreography of this experience that you created, Jeff. Thank you.
Thank you.